Hey everybody, Matt and Bogey back here out in the great wilderness to bring you another exciting video from Pop Goes the 60s. We're going to talk about the Rubber Soul box set. I don't know if you've heard, but they've announced that this is going to be released in October. I know it probably surprised you. I'm sure nobody else has this information, but I thought I'd give you my take on it and where I think things are with Apple and these box set releases. And I'm in the park here, so I'm gonna have to navigate some dogs. Everybody's got a damn dog in this city. I didn't ask for Bogey, by the way. It wasn't my idea. Anyway, okay, Rubber Soul box set, apparently ready in 2023, but did not get released. And I guess the public guilted Apple into doing it. Now, this is not new. This happened with the Get Back DVD/Blu-ray, whereby Disney was not going to have any kind of physical release, but the fans spoke. And they did release a DVD and Blu-ray. Very bare bones, but it got released. It happened again with Anthology 4, when they were going to release Anthology 4 only with 1, 2, and 3, whereby we'd all have to buy what we already have already, and we complained and they capitulated, and Anthology 4 was released as a standalone release. Good thing, I thought. They're listening to their fans. So here we have Rubber Soul, and we're finally getting it after complaining about it for 2+ years. And one of the things I think that's worth pointing out, since we have this new CEO, Tom Green, that started in 2025, the prior CEO, Jeff Jones, who presided from 2007 to 2025, was really, oh, by the way, here's Bogey. There's the little guy. Not getting into any trouble, thankfully. Jeff Jones is the guy, the persona non grata, who really gets very little acclaim for what he did during his tenure as the CEO of Apple. Now, the first thing he did was he got the Beatles involved with iTunes. And for those of you, the Beatles, Apple, the company Apple, was around before the computer Apple. And there was an agreement between the two companies with the understanding that if Apple computers ever got into music, then there'd be an issue. They got into music. So the Beatles and their company Apple ended up essentially settling with them and agreeing to some kind of a deal. So anyway, that was brokered by, in large part, by Jeff Jones. Jones also pioneered the DVD releases of Help, Magical Mystery Tour, Yellow Submarine. He did the he helped collaborate on the Cirque du Soleil Vegas show, the live show, which also spawned the Love soundtrack, which I thought was very good. And then, starting in 2017, we had the box set mania began with the Sgt. Pepper box set. Now in 2017, I'm just giving you a little history here. For those of you who are new to this discussion, 2017 with Sgt. Pepper, that was really well done and not really expected. It was a surprise to people, as I recall, excuse me one sec. Hey, Bridge. Good. Just doing a video for my channel. Uh-oh. Hey.
I'm excited.
Hey.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. These are the dogs here.
You like to? Yeah, you sit nice. Sit. Yeah, that's better. How are you?
Yeah, how you doing?
She's a little naughty.
Okay. He's doing okay tonight for some reason. I don't know why. So what a nice night.
She gets a little hyper sometimes.
Yeah.
Still got a bit of puppy in her.
Okay, catch you later.
Good night.
Okay. All right, so sorry for the interruption. Okay, so the box set of Sgt. Pepper was so well done. There was high marks all across the board. The following year came the anniversary of the White Album, also high marks. Some unexpected things on that, notably for me personally, was the version with all the Beatles singing on Good Night with the harmonies. I thought that was absolutely wonderful. How that could not have made it onto Anthology, I have no idea. Anyway, come on, hey, Bogey's tugging. It's really tugging. Okay, we're gonna cut across this way. So then after White Album was the release of Abbey Road. Now on Pepper and the White Album, you had remixes. So this was all very new. And it seemed like, okay, pretty good idea to maybe give the Sgt. Pepper album a remix. That was done on a 4-track tape machine. And the possibilities of spreading out the instruments was kind of tantalizing. And man, I haven't listened to that really since it came out. So that was given pretty good marks, as was the White Album. 5.1 surround on the White Album, nothing like listening to Revolution 9 and 5.1, which is actually quite fascinating. But when it came to Abbey Road, does this need a remix? That was the first album that was done all in stereo. There's no mono mix of that. And Bogey, come on. So this is where things started to go a little bit awry. So there were some outtakes that were worthwhile. I'm kind of an outtake guy. I like to hear the stuff that was unreleased and different takes, and you kind of learn about the band and the recording process through these outtakes and these, false starts and all those different things and the guys talking in the studio. So Abbey Road was kind of a ho-hum release, followed by Let It Be. Now this was another ho-hum release. Come on, Bogues. And I think they were eager to get it out along with Peter Jackson's Get Back. It made total sense to do that. However, there was so much good stuff they could have released on there, and they just didn't do it. They just had their heads up their ass. They didn't care. Which is why I did an album that never was, 2 more discs with some stuff that should have been on the first one. So that came and went. And then you had the COVID business, and then we had Revolver 2023, which was a little bit thin, but people bought it, I guess. But it wasn't. The excitement had been dying. So since they did the last album, Let It Be, obviously they started going backwards, starting with Revolver. So everybody thought, well, we're gonna do Rubber Soul next. So they conditioned us as fans to expect this. And what other band deserves every album getting a box set treatment more than the Beatles? Nobody. So this seemed to be, they were teeing us up, but the Rubber Soul box set never came. Instead, the following year, they did the very ham-fisted Red and Blue albums, remixed and reconfigured, adding the song that doesn't belong anywhere near those, Now and Then. They were so hell-bent on getting this Now and Then launched as the Beatles' final single. And, all the, the now forgotten song. So that's where we left off. And Rubber Soul suffered from release as a result of that. So fast forward to 2025, they hire the new CEO, Tom Green, who's an all-digital guy. And I said at the time, well, Tom, if you want to endear yourselves to the fan, release Rubber Soul. That's what everybody's been crying about for 2 years. And he's actually has said nothing pretty much from day one. And the only focus has been on these biopics that are coming out in 2028. But all of a sudden we got Rubber Soul. And it's coming out just in time for Christmas. Now, what's kind of interesting is that we all kind of knew that there wasn't a lot left in the vaults for Rubber Soul. And unfortunately, what we are being told it's going to be released is stuff that there could be more stuff on this box set that they're not giving us. For example, 12-bar original. Now, doesn't it make sense to put it on the box set? But Giles Martin suggested, well, it wasn't really intended for the album, And yeah, just kind of, he's hemming and hawing, trying to make excuses why it's not on there. But we all know that there's a longer version that they didn't include on Anthology. Giles Martin's like, well, it's on Anthology. No kidding. Like about 7 or 8 other Rubber Soul tracks, you know, those are also on the Anthology. So, hello, how you doing? So, like I say, he's in a tough position. He's got to justify why stuff is on there and why stuff isn't on there. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes, but I damn well would have been prepared to give some better answers. So anyway, everybody wants to hear the long version of Helter Skelter. Why not hear the long version of 12-bar original? So anyway, that and, you know, the new, come on, Boat. The new, the box set doesn't have like the mono version of the single, which is We Can Work Around Day Tripper, and there's a couple other minor things that have been missed, like the original version of Wait, which was apparently done near the Help period, and so you got all that going on. But one thing that none of us saw coming was the new song, the never heard John Lennon song, Little Girl. And that, the lyric there, or the title, gave us some cause to think that it was perhaps Run for Your Life, an early version of that. But it is not. It is not that song. It's a completely different song. It's not really a song. In fact, it's not even a demo. It's what they're calling a song sketch. So what I understand of this song sketch is that it's like, it was 4 different pieces of his vocal, and they piece it together to make it into what they're calling a sketch. It's not really even a demo. So these 4 pieces strung together is not a full song, but it's, you know, something that we haven't heard before. So this is always kind of cool. So this is pretty much what the whole box set is really. This is the whole thing to it. This is the carrot they're dangling. Now, if you aren't aware of this song, let me give you a little background. This Little Girl, there are lyrics for this, more lyrics than John is singing. And these have actually been published, believe it or not. All out in the open for us to see. And it was in Hunter Davies' book of John Lennon's letters. It's called The John Lennon Letters, edited by Hunter Davies. And John Lennon had written these lyrics on a Japanese postcard that was addressed to George Harrison. And these, let me put them up on screen for you to read here. The lyrics, interestingly enough, John Lennon wasn't writing love songs at this period, particularly post-65. So what I'm getting at here, what I'm getting to in my kind of sluggish way, is that these lyrics, this recording was done in 1966. It wasn't done during Rubber Soul. So Giles Martin trying to talk about 12-bar original not really being intended for the sessions for Rubber Soul. Well, how is this song? And we know this song is from 66 because the postcard indicates that it is the year of, and this is Japanese years, this is the year of, what is it here, I've got it written down, the horse year. And he's writing this to George. So the horse year is 1966, and then he makes reference to the fact that next year will be George's year, the sheep year, which would be 1967. Come on, there he is. There you go. So we have some evidence here that suggests that this demo was not done in 65, but in 66. So anyway, whatever. I mean, just to get it, it just came available. Giles Martin says that he thinks it came from the Lennon estate via Sean. He's not even sure about that. He thinks that, okay, let's assume it came from them. But it's been known about. Mark Lewison had written about this. So it's not a complete out of nowhere find. But that little bit of background I just gave you, to me, is, I find it interesting. And I think it's worth hearing. But since it's not a song or a full demo or what they're calling a song sketch, my expectations are rather low. But I'm sure many fans like yourselves will be chopping at the bit to get it and to hear it. And I wouldn't mind hearing it either, but you know, I'm not going to pay. So the CD set, the 4-disc set for CDs is $150 roughly, and the vinyl is $230. It's 5 discs for the vinyl. And come on, Vogue, come on. And for some people, it might be a little pricey, especially if they just want the 1 disc of outtakes, which is all there is. You know, you got the mono version, you got the new mixes. And by the way, the new mixes are from 2026. They're not the 2023 mixes. So they remixed what they had done in 2023 now in 2026. So that leads me to think, well, you know, the software, the technology is moving so quickly. Come on, Bo. Come on. That they could remix this shit like every 3 years and get better quality. But what's the point of that? What really is the point of it? And I've been more and more, the remixes, I think, by and large, are, if you're going to say they're hit and miss, they're more miss than hit. I mean, there are some improvements made on some of them, but to my ears, it's hardly worth to do it. And the thing I don't like, so they've been using this technology, this Peter Jackson technology. It's called demixing is what it's referred to as. So they're basically taking existing finished pieces, demixing it. In other words, extracting the bits, the instrumental and vocals from an existing piece instead of going to the original stereo tapes. Instead of using the stereo tracks, individual tracks, which would seem to me the better way to go. So I don't know. This whole demixing thing, as the more digitizing that's involved, that's all compression. So you're getting further away from analog. And as near as I can see, is that this whole remixing thing has more to do with the technology than the music. So personally, I don't see the benefit. And we keep getting browbeat with regard to all these new kids today, they won't listen to blah, blah, blah. We're trying to make it sound modern. I think that's a load of shit. I mean, I just don't buy that. You remember back in the 80s and 90s, Ted Turner, he's got TNT, and the statistics and the research showed, well, the young kids aren't going to watch an old movie that's black and white because there's no color there. So they started coloring movies. And this was a fad or a trend for about 10 years, and then there was pushback. The film aficionados would have none of this. Because the whole point of watching an old movie or listening to old music is listening to something original. If you collect anything, they want the original. There's something to be said for how it was done originally and to just accept that. That's what's collectible. All this new stuff that's coming out isn't going to be collectible. None of it's, quite frankly, original. These are facsimiles. The remixes are facsimiles that are, I think, now that you've got 2026 remixes of stuff that was remixed in 2023, I think this is just a joke. You know, where does it end? So I think they've entered a very strange place here. And as far as I can tell, with regard to Rubber Soul and the box set, you know, everybody bitched for 2 or 3 years. Okay, it's out now, or it's announced. Now they're bitching even more. I saw something on Mitch Axelrod's Facebook page, the Fab Four Free For All. Good old Mitch. You know, he had to tell these people, hey, like, calm down. Stop, you know, try to be civil with one another here. Stop complaining. And he suggested that, you know, hey, if you keep complaining, we're not going to get these releases anymore. I think he's right. I think that if you have a new CEO who's a digital guy, you better believe he's checking out all of the social media stuff and what's being said. And it's all a bunch of bitching. So everybody got what they want, and it's a lot of bitching. I think this is the end, folks. Why would they bother? We're so hard to please. We're so spoiled. Oh. And I can include myself in that because I wanted the Rubber Soul box set as well. It just made sense. I mean, the book is probably going to be very nice. And, you know, everybody's got the mono already. They've got, a lot of this stuff is already, they've got it. So really, the proper thing to do would be release something with the stuff that people don't have in single versions so people can buy what they bought and cherry pick. That would be really what you do for the fans. But they got to make money and they got their bottom line, I suppose. So they do what they do. And it appears that very few people are satisfied. So I don't know what to tell you, folks. Am I going to buy it, you ask? No, I don't think I'm going to get this. I'm kind of getting past all this stuff. There's not a lot of meat on the bone here. And the remixing to me is an effort, I think, in not building their legacy, but breaking it down more than anything. I mean, it's marginal, but I think that any confusion over what the mixes are, I think, is a bad thing. And I just don't, as I get older, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with all my stuff. I mean, I can't justify getting the Rubber Soul box set based on anything other but the song sketch of John Lennon and the couple of maybe outtakes that I don't have. Now, I can get those very easily without spending any money, which is, I think, what a lot of people are going to do. The reason, a lot of us were angry, myself included, or a little bit perturbed anyway, when it appeared that this physical media stuff wasn't going to keep coming out. And I really don't blame them, because I think stuff started falling off a few years ago. As I've always been saying, I don't think these box sets have been selling well. We have never seen any sales figures for this. And I think the reason they're keeping them hidden is because they're slightly embarrassed with the sales. So, and there's still some physical media coming out. And there could be still record store day stuff they could do. And I just don't know. I mean, I don't know how they could be smaller sellers than, say, the Kinks or Zappa. So Zappa's got the 60th anniversary of Freak Out coming out now. That's in some kind of box set. Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't know. Apple, they're putting all their eggs in that biopic basket, I guess. So we'll see how that pans out. I'm a little skeptical of that, but if the young kids like it, or the younger generations, younger people being anybody like 40 and under, those are the younger generations to me anyway. And to most of you watching this, maybe they'll pick up on it. I don't know. But I have my doubts. Because ultimately, this business of remixing and all, it's about the songs. If it's a good song, they're going to listen to it, remixed or not. The producer seldom matters if it's a great song. The best producer in the world can't take a shit song and make it into a hit. So my position is, if the songs are good enough to last into the future, they will last. And I think that's the bottom line. Remixing is a waste of time. These box sets looks great on the shelves, and I think, yeah, the Beatles are worth it. But, I think we may be at the end of the line here, folks. And I'm at the end of my walk, almost. Oh, you needed this walk tonight. I needed to get out before it got too dark. So anyway, somebody had mentioned, well, maybe they're not putting the early version of Wait on the Rubber Soul box set because they're saving that for the Help box set. Like, dude, I think that's like fantasy world. I don't think we're going to get any more box sets, because what is available out there now in the bootleg community, some great releases. I mean, I've got tons of tracks and alternate takes from all these early albums that I've collected over the years digitally. And the bootleggers out there will probably start doing the work that we want them to. And at reasonable prices on CD. This is not going to be on vinyl. Why do we need that kind of thing on vinyl anyway? We really don't. So we'll see what the future brings, but as of right now, it appears that this might be one of the last box sets we get of any of the Beatles albums. So we'll see what Tom Green has in store. It'd be nice to actually hear from him or have him address the fans. Because, one of the things I always, it's like when they send Giles Martin out to, you know, kind of give us some smoke screens. Oh, we don't know what's out there, and we've released everything that we know of. It's like, who do they think they're talking to? Who do they think they're dealing with? These are Beatle fans. You can't pull the wool over their eyes, man. So they're in over their head, clearly. And I would probably hire somebody from one of these Beatle YouTube channels to be the CEO. Couldn't do much worse, could they? We'll find out. Well, until next time, I appreciate you watching, and I'll be back with another video here, Beatles or otherwise, on Pop Goes the 60s.